Ashato ma shadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mritturma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome friends to my channel once again. Welcoming all of you, and let's go directly to this today's topic of video, and that is the sudden death. So it's called unnatural death or a natural death. Why it happens, what's the reason behind it, and what happens after death of such persons. And therefore, as you are aware that if unnatural deaths happen or a sudden death happens to our family members, due to demise of them, we feel so pain, and that is not longed for. But anyway, we have to compromise with nature's act, and therefore still some answers to the question remains unresolved. And those of you who have such questions in mind is the right place, is the right video, because I'm going to tell you the reasons behind all these deaths and also after deaths, and why it happens, what's the main reason behind it. And therefore, before proceeding, if you are new to this channel, please do subscribe. So friends, what happens, when a baby takes birth, after some time, his behavior, his nature reflects, radiates as quality of his behavior. And this is the reason why. Because it is born of the nature's qualities, that is gunas, which is known as the sattvic guna, rajasic guna and tamasic guna. So that is inborn. Every human being is driven by these three gunas, the sattvic, rajasic and tamasic gunas. And it is through karma of that person who is tilted more to any of these three gunas, the qualities of the nature, he earns the results in his life, during his life, and he has to face the consequences after death also. And therefore, it is important to know what these three gunas, what the results of the three gunas are. Among the three, object of sattvic guna is luminous. It binds the embodied soul with knowledge and happiness. The rajas guna, its sources is passion. It binds the embodied soul with attachment to work, desire, greed. And the third one, that is the tamasic guna. The tamasic guna is born of ignorance. It binds the embodied soul with inadvertence, laziness and sleep. So now a person can easily understand, knowing this, that what nature is of that particular person. Once the embodied self meets with death, when that person is predominated by sattvic guna, he acquires the spheres of the highest worshippers of deities. That is called Uchchalok. It may attain Brahmaloka and thereafter also the higher lokas, and due to his good deeds, the result of his good deeds and karma, he may attain liberation also. And the second one, if a person meets with death with Rajas Guna, when Rajas Guna is predominant, then he meets with, he attains the womb of human beings who are attached to work. That means he takes rebirth in the family of human being. And due to his karma, before taking rebirth, it can attain the Shwargaloka, that is heaven. And when his punya karma, that is good deeds, are exhausted, he is destined to again take rebirth as human being on earth. When a person meets with death, when his tamas guna predominates, then it attains the womb of irrational species, that is called Nimna Yoni. This is how, due to the gunas of the Prakriti, that is nature, the qualities of the nature, and the normal procedure of karma, one attains the natural way of the results of his life and afterlife. But here, Lord Krishna tells in Bhagwat Geeta, a person, you have all right to do work. Your body is the kshetra, your body is the medium, is the field where you have the liberty to work in whichever way you like, in whatever you desire to do, and accordingly you can do, but you have no right on the results of your deeds. Karma mein tumhara adhikar hai, phal mein nahi, karma phal mein nahi, he tells. And therefore, he can earn whatever he like, and God is not a hurdle in doing so. Human being quite independent of making his own life. And this is the reason, this karma is the reason, and the nature's these qualities are the causes. What results in these deaths? It is due to karma. It is due to his good or bad deeds, evil deeds. And therefore, a person have this liberty by knowing and acquiring the truth of this knowledge, one can reshape his destiny of life and afterlife. So this is how one can reshape his life. Suppose a person may be born of the predominant any of the three natures, that is sattvic or rajasic or tamasic guna. He will be definitely tilted towards those natures or like persons. But if he gets company of a knowledgeable person, that is sattvic guna, his life may change. Likewise, the other two also. And therefore, it all depends on what a person likes or dislikes. There is no hand of others. And therefore, we are solely responsible for our whatever instances come in our life. And therefore, by acquiring the knowledge of it, one who can reshape his destination of life he can avert death also. He can minimize an accident to a minor one. He can overcome miseries in his life. Also, he can have the liberation also. This is what Lord Krishna said to Arjuna. Now, there have been live instances in Bharatvarsh, that is India. I want to share with you today two examples of live instances, how a person after death also came back alive. There is only these two instances in which two personalities came back alive after death in this sacred land of Bharatvarsh. The first one is Nachiketa. As it is mentioned in the Kathopanishad, where his father was a great king, a wise man, a knowledgeable person, he performed the great Vishwajit Yajna, the great fire sacrifice, and to attain success of this Yajna, that is Vishwajit Yajna. Vishwajit means winning the world. And therefore, he donated all his valuables, his cows, buffaloes, the healthy ones, very good things, to the performers of the sacrifice, that is the pandits and priests. And lastly, when he had only left with only some weak cows which don't milk also, his 8 to 10 year son came there and reacted and asked his father why he is offering such lazy and weak cows in this sacrifice. The king did not say anything, but for the second time, when the little son reacted again, then the king was annoyed and he told, all I have is most valuable thing, and that is you. Then Nachiketa said, then why don't you sacrifice me? To this, as he got angry, the king offered Nachiketa, his son, into the sacrifice of this great fire. And after Nachiketa went to the Yamloka, that is the Lord of Death, he arrived there, but he could know that the Lord of Death is away from the Yamloka for 3 days. So he decided to wait and stay. His man allowed him to settle, but for 3 days he did not take food or water. So when the Lord of Death, Yamraj, came back, he heard this and he felt so sorry, a guest without food and water for 3 days, and therefore, looking into the dedication of Nachiketa, the little boy, then Yamraj asked him to ask for 3 boons, and among which the first boon Nachiketa asked was that when he returns back to earth, that his father recognizes him and be happy as before. This was the first boon, that is called bar. The other two also he fulfilled, and as Yamraj was satisfied because he was a very knowledgeable person, he was a rishi, and therefore the Lord of Death gave him the 4th boon also. But here I am not going to mention because it would take so much time. And therefore, Nachiketa came back alive with that same body he left with. So this is an example. And another example of this live thing is as mentioned in Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, you might have heard about the Satyavan and Savitri story. Satyavan was a prince and Savitri was a princess. They were married, but the rishis told that when the life of Satyavan is only for one more year. After 1 year, he will meet with death. When the time arrived, when death arrived, the Lord of Death, Yamraja, came to receive his embodied soul, self, to take away. But Savitri was a very devoted wife. He worshipped his husband as Lord, and therefore she didn't allow to take her husband's life by Yamraja. Seeing the devotion of Savitri, Lord of Death was very pleased, and therefore he asked Savitri that living your husband's life, you may ask anything you want, I will give you. Savitri was very clever. So she asked, please give me this boon that I can be the mother of children of my husband Satyavan. And he was bound by her words, as he already offered to ask boon, and therefore Lord of Death had to return the life of Satyavan, and thereby Satyavan came alive. So nothing is impossible in this nature. If a person desires, by this we can learn that if a person desires, he can overcome anything. He can overcome death, and by knowledge he can overcome all the miseries of life. At the same time, he can make a good life thereafter if he wants to live, or he can get liberation also. So this is the reason of our so-called death, sudden death, all due to karma. And we can reshape it, as I mentioned earlier. And therefore, with this knowledge, if a person tries, Lord Krishna says he will succeed. Thank you very much for staying with me all this time. Dear friends, if you like this video, please do comment. I am going to take leave of you. Thank you very much once again. Namaskar.